A massive space station floated in the black sky, lit by thousands of blinking lights. It was shaped like a spiked wheel, orbiting a dying red star. Around it, smaller ships came and went, silent, cold, and armed. This was the Zarkon Alliance's High Council Station, a place where wars were ended or begun with only words. The Earth ambassador's ship arrived slowly, like a guest stepping carefully into a stranger's home. Its hull was clean and white, a symbol of peace. Inside, Ambassador Daniel Reeve stood in front of a mirror, adjusting his collar one last time. His face was calm, but his eyes told a different story. He knew this mission could change everything. He stepped into the main room of the ship where 2 soldiers waited. They stood tall, wearing the navy blue of Earth's Diplomatic Security Corps. "Are you ready, sir?" one of them asked. "As ready as anyone can be," Daniel said with a half smile. Moments later, the airlock hissed open. Daniel stepped onto the alien station, walking with steady steps. The metal floor was colder, smoother than Earth's ships. Alien guards stood on both sides, their armor dark and sharp-edged. Their glowing yellow eyes followed Daniel, unblinking. Zarkon Chancellor Vorek waited at the far end of the hall. He was tall and thin, his skin like cracked stone, and his face impossible to read. Daniel had met him once before during the ceasefire talks. That time, Vorek had smiled. This time, he did not. "Ambassador Reeve," Vorek said, his voice low and dry like sand. "We meet again." "For peace, I hope," Daniel replied, offering his hand. Vorek didn't take it. He turned and began walking toward the council chamber. Daniel followed, heart beating a little faster. The chamber doors opened. Inside, tall alien figures sat in a wide circle. A single platform rose in the center where Daniel would speak. He stepped onto it, alone, surrounded by the powerful faces of the Zarkon High Council. He spoke clearly, calmly, about the future, about cooperation, about stopping war before it started. He mentioned Earth's willingness to share technology, to help rebuild Zarkon colonies damaged in the border conflicts. Some aliens nodded, others whispered to each other. Daniel took a breath. "We can either build together or bleed alone." Then, silence. Vorek stood, eyes sharp. "Earth speaks of peace," he said, "yet sends warships to our edge." "For defense only," Daniel answered. Another counselor stood. "And what of the station destroyed last month?" Daniel's brows tightened. "We did not attack that station. We lost 2 ships of our own that day." Murmurs grew louder. Tension filled the chamber. Daniel opened his mouth to continue, but he never got the chance. A sound cracked the air like thunder. A flash of light. Then silence again. Daniel Reeve dropped to his knees, his eyes wide, his mouth open in shock. A burn mark spread across his chest. Blood, dark and slow, began to spill. He fell forward face first and did not move again. Screams followed. Alarms rang. Human guards outside rushed in but were too late. Daniel was already dead. From the shadows, a Zarkon guard stood with a smoking weapon in hand, but he wasn't alone. 2 more guards stepped forward to protect him, weapons raised. "What have you done?" someone shouted. Chancellor Vorek raised both arms. "Stop! This was not authorized." But chaos had begun. The human soldiers pointed their weapons. The Zarkon guards did the same. Any wrong move, and the chamber would turn into a battlefield. Earth's ship picked up the emergency signal seconds later. Commander Silva in orbit stared in horror at the video feed. Is he?" one officer whispered. Silva turned pale. "Ambassador Reeve is dead. Killed on live broadcast." No one spoke. Just silence. Cold, bitter silence. Back on Earth, the president's eyes narrowed. Across the world, screens flashed the news. Ambassador assassinated during peace talks. The public wept. Others shouted for revenge, but no one felt it more than Alara Reeve. She stood alone in her quarters aboard the Arclight, Earth's most advanced warship. A message played on the screen in front of her, her father's final words. "If anything happens, Don't let anger guide you. Let justice lead. But never kneel to fear. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes burned. Behind her, her second-in-command spoke softly. "Captain, what are your orders?" Alara turned. "Tell High Command I'm requesting emergency fleet status." The officer blinked. "You're preparing for war?" She didn't answer. Instead, she walked to the window and stared into the stars. Far out there somewhere were the ones who took her father from her. Aliens had killed Earth's ambassador. Earth's hope. Her father. Now, they would face humanity's answer. And that answer was fire. The ship's lights dimmed as battle protocols came online. Across the fleet, engines roared to life. Old warships were pulled from dock, pilots suited up, troops loaded rifles. No more debates, no more warnings. The first fleet was on its way. But Alara knew something felt wrong. Too sudden. Too perfect. She had read the intelligence. The Zarkon were aggressive, yes, but they needed peace as much as Earth did. Their empire was weak. Their colonies starving. So why would they murder an ambassador on camera? Unless... She sat at her desk and pulled up the security files. The assassin's face wasn't listed. No identity. No rank. Then came a message. Encrypted. Old code. Never used since the border war. It read, "It wasn't Zarkon. They wanted peace. Find the one called Nyros before the next blade falls." Ilara's fingers froze. Nyros. A name from the dark. A ghost from the war. Someone who should be dead. She leaned back, breathing slow. Eyes filled with new fire. Maybe this war wasn't about diplomacy anymore. Maybe it never was. Maybe someone wanted both sides to burn. But first, they had killed her father, and they would pay. Every last one of them. The cold silence of space was broken by the steady hum of Earth's fleet gathering near the outer edge of their system. Ships of all sizes moved in formation, their engines glowing faintly against the blackness. Captain Alara Reeves stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes fixed on the stars beyond the window. The death of her father had shaken the entire planet, and now she carried the heavy burden of leading humanity's response. A calm voice broke the tension. "Captain, communications from the Zarkon Council. They demand to speak." Alara's jaw tightened. "Put it through." The screen flickered to life, revealing the stern face of Chancellor Vorek. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes held a cold warning. "This fleet's movement is uncalled for," he said. "We demand you stand down. There is no need for further conflict." Ilara leaned forward. "The ambassador was killed on your station. You must explain." Vorek's gaze sharpened. "We did not order that act. It was a rogue faction within our government. We are investigating." Ilara's heart clenched, but she remained steady. "Investigate quickly. The people of Earth want peace. They also want justice." The screen went dark. The fleet grew quiet. For a moment, the weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the room. Then, the message came. A new encrypted signal faster than any known code. It carried only a few words. "Do not trust the Council. They hide the truth." Alara stared at the words. She turned to her crew. "This is bigger than we thought. Prepare for all outcomes. We move forward." Every ship tightened its formation, weapon systems activating but held in restraint. Earth was not ready for a full battle. Not yet. But it was clear the old peace was broken. As the fleet jumped into Zarkon space, tension filled every corner of the flagship. Eyes watched every screen, every blip on the radar. No one knew what lay ahead, but all knew it would change everything. Days passed in silence until the first fleet stopped communicating. No response, no signals, just a dark void where they once had been. Alara felt the weight of that silence deep in her bones. She ordered a search party, risking smaller ships to find any sign of the lost fleet. The search revealed devastation. Ships torn apart, floating wreckage in endless space. Survivors were few, and their stories were grim. They were pulled into something, one pilot reported, voice trembling. A trap. Something powerful and strange. Ilara listened, the fire of determination burning brighter. She gathered her closest team. A skilled hacker who could break any code, a former prisoner of the Zarkon who knew their secrets, and a group of hardened soldiers ready for anything. Together, they began to unravel the mystery. Clues led them to a secret weapon hidden deep within Zarkon territory, a machine capable of crushing entire fleets with invisible forces. But the danger was not just from outside. Ilara received a message from an unexpected source, a mysterious alien who claimed the killing of the ambassador was only the beginning. If you want the truth, the message said, meet me alone on the edge of the nebula. Ilara faced a choice: trust an alien stranger or risk falling deeper into a trap. The crew waited, breaths held, as she prepared to enter the unknown. The stars seemed to hold their breath too. The war was no longer a simple fight between worlds. It was a tangled web of secrets and shadows, and Ilara was at its center. The stars stretched endlessly ahead as Ilara's small ship slipped quietly through the swirling colors of the nebula. The place was beautiful, like a living painting made of light and mist, but it hid dangers unseen. Every shadow seemed to whisper secrets. Every flicker of light could mean a trap. Ilara sat alone in the cockpit, her hands steady on the controls. The message from the stranger had led her here, a location far beyond the normal patrol routes, where few dared to go. The alien who called himself Aaron claimed to have answers about the ambassador's death, but she wasn't sure if she could trust him. Still, she had no choice. The fleet was lost, the enemy silent, and questions burned hotter than ever. As her ship approached a rocky moon, the communication panel crackled. A calm voice spoke, different from the harsh tones of the Zarkon leaders. You have come, Captain Reeve. Good. I have much to tell you. Ilara activated the video link. The face that appeared was not like the cold stone features of the Council. Aaron's skin shimmered with a soft blue light, and his eyes held a kindness rare among aliens she had met. The Council did not order the killing of your father, Aaron said quietly. A hidden group within the Zarkon government seeks war. To gain power through destruction, they use fear to control both sides. Ilara's heart raced. Why would they want that? Because war means control. Peace means weakness to them. They hide a weapon, a device that can pull entire fleets into a trap. It was used on your lost ships. She swallowed hard. Why send me this message? Why trust me? Aaron looked away, briefly, then back with a steady gaze. Because if this secret spreads, they will silence us all. I want to stop the war before it begins. Ilara leaned forward. What do you want me to do? Help me find the weapon's location, destroy it, and expose those who hide in the shadows. A warning beep interrupted them. Sensors detected ships approaching fast. Your time is short, Aaron said. I will guide you, but be careful. The connection ended. Ilara's ship prepared for evasive maneuvers. Through the nebula, unknown ships closed in, moving with purpose but avoiding open battle. She understood. They wanted to capture her, to stop the truth from spreading. Her crew prepared quietly, trusting her lead. As they slipped through the swirling clouds, Ilara felt the weight of everything she carried. Not just the mission, but the hope of Earth and the truth that could end the cycle of fear. The lost fleet had not been destroyed by accident. It was bait, and the hidden faction was ready for the final move. Ilara's next steps would decide the fate of two worlds. The stars watched silently as she pressed forward, deeper into the unknown. The cold walls of the hidden base were dimly lit by flickering lights casting long shadows across the metal floors. Captain Ilara Reeve moved carefully through the narrow corridors, every step echoing softly. The message from Aaron had led her here, a secret facility deep inside an asteroid belt, far from the eyes of both Earth and the Zarkon Council. Her small team followed close behind. Mira, the hacker with sharp eyes and quick fingers. Jax, the ex-prisoner who knew the dark paths of Zarkon territory. and a squad of loyal soldiers ready for any challenge. They reached a heavy door, sealed tight with complex codes. Mira worked quickly, her fingers dancing over the keypad. Sweat beaded on her forehead, but her focus never wavered. Finally, the door hissed open. Inside, the room was filled with screens and control panels, some shattered, others still glowing, faintly. The air smelled cold and stale. A large map of the galaxy displayed points of interest. Red dots marked many secret locations. Jax pointed to one. "This is where the superweapon is hidden, the place that trapped your fleet." Alara's eyes narrowed. "And the ones who ordered my father's death?" Jax shook his head. "Not who you think. The real leaders are hiding, using others to do their bidding." Suddenly, the room's main screen flickered and came to life. The face of Chancellor Vorek appeared, but his eyes held something different. Urgency, maybe fear. "Captain Reeve?" His voice was calm but serious. "There are those within my own council who want this war. I want to stop them." Alara's heart pounded. Could she trust this man? The one she had thought an enemy? Before she could answer, alarms blared. The base was under attack. Soldiers rushed in, their faces hard but desperate. The saboteurs had found them. Mira grabbed a device and started working to block the attackers' signals. Jax took point, leading the defense with quiet strength. Alara stood at the center, issuing orders. This was no longer just about revenge. It was about survival and truth. As the fighting quieted, Alara found a hidden terminal. She accessed files that revealed the names behind the secret faction. Names that shocked her. People she had once trusted. The lines between friend and foe blurred. Alara's mind raced. If she shared this information, she risked chaos on both sides. But if she stayed silent, the war would continue, and more lives would be lost. She made her choice. "Gathering. Her team," she said. "We will expose them. But first, we must survive the coming storm." Outside, the stars seemed colder, the silence deeper. The battle for peace had only just begun. The vastness of space stretched endlessly as Earth's fleet moved closer to the heart of Zarkon territory. Captain Alara Reeve stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes scanning the star-filled darkness. The war had begun, but it was not the fight she had expected. It was a battle of shadows and secrets, where truth and deception clashed like invisible forces. Reports came in steadily. Zarkon colonies far from the center had fallen silent, their communications cut without explanation. Entire outposts vanished, as if swallowed by the void. The mysterious weapon that had trapped the First Fleet was now at the center of every command meeting. Alara's team worked tirelessly, analyzing data and piecing together fragments of the hidden faction's plan. They learned the weapon could control gravity itself, bending space to trap and crush fleets without a single shot fired. The scale of its power was terrifying, but amid the fear, a spark of hope remained. Earth's forces, though battered, were growing stronger. Pilots trained harder, engineers repaired damaged ships, and diplomats whispered of alliances, even with some Zarkon factions who opposed the hidden leaders. Alara found herself caught between two worlds. Her own people demanded swift justice and retribution. The Zarkon council she had met seemed eager for peace, but the hidden faction pulled strings from the shadows. One night, in the quiet moments before battle briefings, Alara sat alone in her quarters. The image of her father, Ambassador Daniel Reeve, filled her mind, the man who had hoped for peace, who had died trying to make it happen. A soft beep interrupted her thoughts. It was a message from Aaron, the alien who had first warned her. "There is a way to end this without endless fighting," the message said, "but it will require trust. You must find the others who seek peace." Alara knew the risk. Trust was fragile, especially in war. But the alternative was clear: destruction for all. She called her team together. "We need to reach out beyond our borders. Find those who want peace, not war." Mira nodded. "I can hack into secret networks, find whispers of allies." Jax grinned. I know some old contacts who owe me favors. Together, they planned a daring mission, a journey into enemy space to meet with those who might join their cause. As the fleet prepared to jump, a warning came in. The hidden faction had discovered their plans. A trap was set, waiting in the dark between the stars. Ilara's heart pounded, but she stood tall. We move forward, for Earth, for hope. The fleet leapt into the unknown. Stars blurred and shifted. Time seemed to bend as they entered the space where the weapon was hidden. What waited for them was beyond anything they had imagined. The void around the fleet seemed endless, but Captain Ilara Reeve felt the weight of every moment pressing down on her. The hidden weapon's location was just ahead, deep within a vast asteroid field where light barely reached and the silence of space was complete. This was no ordinary mission. It was the final chance to uncover the truth and stop the forces that threatened both Earth and Zarkon from destroying themselves. The fleet moved slowly, ships weaving carefully between the massive rocks. Sensors picked up strange energy signals, flickering like distant stars but with a cold, unnatural pulse. The air inside Ilara's ship was thick with tension. Every officer and crew member held their breath knowing what was at stake. Suddenly the quiet was shattered by a soft alarm. Mira's voice came through the comms, steady but urgent. Captain, energy spikes detected. The weapon is powering up. Ilara's eyes narrowed. We can't let this happen. What options do we have? Mira's fingers flew over the controls. There's a way to disrupt it from inside. A small team can land on the main asteroid and shut it down. But it won't be easy. Jack stepped forward, his expression calm but determined. We're ready, Captain. Let us do it. Ilara nodded, respect and trust filling her chest. You leave at once. The rest of us will hold the fleet here and protect your exit. The landing craft broke away, disappearing into the shadows. Inside, the team prepared for what might be their last mission. The asteroid's surface was jagged and dark, a harsh landscape where every step was uncertain. They moved cautiously, guided by faint signals in the hope of stopping the weapon before it could unleash its terrible power. As they neared the control center, an unexpected message crackled through their radios. Captain Reeve, this is Aaron. You are not alone. The team froze. Aaron's voice was calm, but behind it was a new urgency. The hidden faction's plan is worse than you imagine. They want to use the weapon not only to destroy fleets but to rewrite space itself, to trap entire systems in endless darkness. Ilara's heart raced. The stakes had grown even higher. With Aaron's guidance, the team found a hidden entrance and slipped inside. The control room was vast, filled with alien technology that pulsed with energy. Mira began her work immediately, hacking into the system as Jax and the others guarded. Hers at time moved too fast and too slow all at once. The weapon's power grew stronger, the ground vibrating beneath their feet. Finally, with a beep and a sigh, Mira's face lit up. I'm in, shutting it down now. The energy in the room faltered, then faded. Back in the fleet, the alarm stopped. Relief washed over every ship as the threat vanished. Ilara smiled, feeling hope bloom in the darkness. But as the team prepared to leave, a new message appeared on the main screen, a warning and a promise. This is not the end. The real war begins now. Ilara's eyes hardened. The silence of space held many secrets, and she was ready to face them all.